Okay, so a quick prayer. Heavenly Father, I specifically pray that you can direct us and lead us in the direction of your will when it comes to interpreting this word. I pray that it has nothing to do with me and my ability to represent, but more to what you need us to glean, what you need us to gather from your word, so that we can continue and move on in your will and be obedient servants for your glory in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Hallelujah. Go ahead. So we'll just try and go through this real quick and just bring up some questions afterwards. Like I said, I've got a bit of a video that we might want to refer to just prove and show you how real this is. What it says, now these are the names of the children of Israel who came to Egypt, each man and his household with Jacob. Reuben, Simeon, Levi and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun and Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad and Asher. All those who were descendants of Jacob were 70 persons, for Yusuf was in Egypt already.
Hello.
Forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they do.
Amen.
Oh, I think it cut out for me. Carry on. Oh, is someone chatting in your back?
Fasten the 2 gold chains to the ring.
Who's got that going?
That was me. I have to turn it off.
Okay, and Yusuf died, all his brothers and all that generation. But the children of Yisrael were fruitful and increased abundantly, multiplied and grew exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose a new king over Egypt who did not know Yusuf, and he said to his people, look, the people of the children of Yisrael are more and mightier than we. Come, let us deal shrewdly with them, lest they multiply and it happen in the event of war that they also join our enemies and fight against us, and so go up out of the land. Therefore they set taskmasters over them to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh supply cities, pt1 and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were in dread of the children of Yisrael. So the Egyptians made the children of Yisrael serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar, in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service in which they made them serve was with rigor. Then the king of Egypt spoke to the Hebrew midwives, of whom the name of one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other was Puah. And he said, when you do the duties of a midwife for the Hebrew women and see them on the birth stools, if it is a son, then you shall kill him. But if it is a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared Yah, and did not do as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the male children alive. So the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said to them, why have you done this thing, and saved the male children alive? And the midwives said to Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not like Egyptian women, for they are lively and give birth before the midwives come to them. Therefore Yah dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and grew very mighty. And so it was because the midwives feared Yah that he provided households for them. Okay, so Gentiles, right?
Yeah.
So Pharaoh commanded all his people, saying, every son who is born you shall cast into the river, and every daughter you shall leave alive. Okay, so just to give you some idea about what's actually really happening, I've got one video, but I can probably find another one as well, which will confirm these are the times that we're in. So I don't know if you can see this. You can find out. Can you see this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you remember the first statement? You try and get back there to it. So this is in reference to this statement. I'll highlight it for you. Okay, so from verse 8. What does this tell you? This highlighted section, what does this tell you? Mhm. Ladies,
Reminding us that the children of Israel, that we are going to face a lot of oppression.
look at it from the Egyptians' point of view. How are they seeing it?
Yeah, that we're too strong, and they want to use us.
So at the moment, so based on this, it's like, firstly, they're seeing that we're multiplying and we're strong.
Hmm.
Secondly, they're concerned that we'll become so strong we'll overpower them. Thirdly, that we'll overpower them and that we'll leave the land. So they rely on us for their prosperity. So these are the times that we're in now, right?
Hmm.
Okay, we're seeing that we're strong, seeing that we're blessed, and that they depend on us for their prosperity. And they're concerned that we're going to leave. And the key here is, come let us deal with them.
Oh, auntie.
Let us deal shrewdly with them, lest they multiply. And you can see what the plan was. The plan was to take us out, right?
Hmm.
So to kill the males and let the females live on. Let's see if that goes on today.
And 4 factors, a little bit of multiplication. So you've got a thing on the left, CO2, you want to get to 0. And that's going to be based on the number of people, the services, each person's using on average, the energy on average for each service, and the CO2 being put out per unit of energy. So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to 0. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to 0. Now that's back from high school algebra. So let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
Wow.
Population of Africa is set to almost double by 2050, raising fears that
Oh,
progress in fighting
there we go.
poverty and disease will be reversed. So what can be done to ensure that poverty doesn't increase? And how can a disproportionately large youth population help drive progress? With me to discuss all of this and more is Bill Gates. Bill, are we at a turning point where regression is a real risk?
Well, first, the progress over the last several decades has been pretty amazing, both reducing childhood death, getting kids in school, getting productivity up, and reducing extreme poverty. But it's really Africa that still has a doubling in population to 2050, and probably another doubling to 2100, where you really have to do a good job to just trying to get these extreme poverty rates down. So if we don't do better in investing in human capital in Africa, yes, the number of people in extreme poverty is actually going to go up.
I'm glad we got that video because we got it straight from the horse's mouth, right?
Hmm.
What
I
the
really
plan-
hear what you're saying, property.
Pharaoh did not know Joseph.
No, but I couldn't hear what Bill Gates was saying properly.
Did you not? Is that because of my video?
My internet, I think, is a bit.
Well, that's on you.
Well, Catty.
Send you the link if you want.
Alright, thanks.
Huh?
Yes, please, thank you. You know me as well. If it ain't got subtitles, I'm not understanding it.
Okay, let me send you the thing. Like I say, I'm glad that I wasn't the one that was manipulating the situation, because I don't think that's right. I'll put it on our chat. So again, to reinforce and show you that this is the time that we're in. Let's go back to the script.
It's very interesting because Asia has a larger population, but you don't see talks about that.
We all know what that's about. We all know what that's about. But,
Oh, you mean?
huh?
How you mean?
They're part of their people as well.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So that covers that bit. Come, let us deal shrewdly with them, lest they multiply and it happen in the event of war that they also become our enemies and fight against us, and so go up out of the land. What's happening in Africa right now? So I find something for that on you as well.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what's happening in Africa right now.
Try and find from my my history.
When was that video of Bill Gates? How long ago was that?
Pre-COVID, I think.
Because that video, it sounds like they're basically saying everything they do, like around vaccines and stuff like that, it is about population control.
It is.
And we know that they can target those vaccines as well, because that's what they're doing to affect certain races and certain genealogies.
Find it.
But in all of that, we've got to remember that God is greater than all of this.
Well, what this is, these are traffic lights. These aren't to make you worried or concerned. These are just traffic lights to let you know what colour we're on.
Yeah.
And
Anything, it just more.
being at a particular junction, we have to know which way to go.
And like you said, if anything, it just shows who we are even more. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it, but I can't. There's another one in my feed somewhere that talks about how the Africans basically are like they're kind of not even ganging up together, but basically they're becoming a bit more united. And I think that's probably it, actually. Probably this one. It's quite a long one, but it's probably the best one. It's one that says we ain't drinking the Kool-Aid. Just an example of one. You might not be able to understand it very well.
Because they are not highlighted. So, like a visa, what is, why do you constrain business people with visa? They should travel, they should get what we call multiple entry visa. I get a visa, I come back, I come whenever I want to. That's so logic will replace irrationality.
The visit comes at the time when Uganda is facing criticism
for the decision not to renew its agreement to host the United Nations Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights beyond its current year term, which ended in February this year. President Museveni has defended this decision.
This is because we have a Ugandan Human Rights Commission, which is mandated by the Constitution. So having others, which are not part of our constitutional system, is first of all unnecessary, but also diversionary. Because some of the people may not know the difference. Instead of going to report where action can be taken, they go to the UN. What can UN do in Uganda? They don't have the powers of enforcement. The ones who have the powers of enforcement are the Uganda National Human Rights Commission. So why divert the attention of complainants?
Okay, so just to give you an idea of what's happening here. So in Africa, what's happening is that they're fighting the West. This is part of the war that you don't actually see. They're fighting the West. They're standing up for themselves now.
Yeah, I mean, I heard about Zimbabwe.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on. You probably see, I don't know if you can see it in my feed here, but there's another one. Uproar over LGBTQ.
Decision by the Supreme
There's so
Court.
many going on in Africa right now, where the other one that was in my feed was one where basically that the French are being kicked out of Africa. Their colonies are saying, no, you can dry your ass home. And that would be, where is it? Basically, the African leaders are stepping up. They're realizing that they now hold a position of power, and the West can't boss them about like they used to. You know, if the West are looking to obtain any favor, this is the one. This is a couple of hours. But basically,
Too late. Okay.
if the West are looking for any kind of favor when it comes to supply, they have to eat out the palms of the Africans. So these are the kind of things they were frightened of. But the reality is that it's happening again. So how do they curtail us? How do they control us? They afflict us.
Thing is, yeah, how did actually? I'm kind of changing the subject a little bit. Can I do that?
We're going there.
In this Exodus thing, how did they overpower the Israelites, and why do you think God let it happen? Because they weren't in a state of apostasy at this time.
What do you think it happened?
To make them.
Not exactly.
Maybe did God use us just to be able to show his power to the world?
There you go. There's my sister right there. Say it
And
louder.
also,
Say it louder, sis.
Mm?
Say it louder.
He's used us to exert his power to the world.
Oh, we lost you again. Say it again.
He's used us to show his power to the world.
There you go.
and also, it was never God's intention to keep them in Egypt, so he had to find a way to make them uncomfortable, so they would want to leave as well.
Starting to understand things now, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You understand what's recently happened in the USA? I think I put it on the chat.
No.
When I put these things on the chat again, they're not to scare people or to manipulate people. These are traffic lights. Basically, in Mississippi, they've read the
Oh, the
article.
John Crow.
Listen to the video. Did you say Jim Crow? Sis?
Jim Crow, yeah.
Yeah, Jim Crow. Tom, do you know much about Jim Crow?
I mean, we spoke about it a little bit in it, and I was watching your Teo with you, but then they didn't actually say much.
Okay, Jim Crow is basically laws of segregation, but they're not just laws of segregation. It's basically a two-tier legal system. And what's happening in Mississippi is that in I think it's called Capitol in Mississippi, which is 83% black. What they've now done is they've outsourced the legal decisions to people in the main state, as opposed to people within that city who are 83% black. Now, historically, the people in the state have not always been full black people. Basically, what those people who are outside the city, they can make decisions on what criminality is. And the people that are in the city cannot contest it because they have no legal way of doing it, because they've passed over or handed over that legal judgeship to people outside of the city. These are the ways in which they set taskmasters and afflict us. They do it in a very, very sly, controlled
And they can't
way.
vote. How is it?
That's right, they can't vote against it.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think the Most High is making them uncomfortable so that they can get the hell out of Dodge?
Mm-hmm.
Because there are some brothers and sisters over there that say, "Oh, America's our home, man. What I'm going back to wherever for?" You know, when it's not up
What
to
they're
that.
saying in that video when they got that news. They seemed scared.
And this would have been what I'm trying to show you is exactly that, sis, is that for these people in Egypt at the time, it would have been the same. They would have been scared of the change. They would have been very used to it. And you'll see it as we go later on into the Exodus. You'll see that they were very, very comfortable with their discomfort. And the Most High is saying, "No, I've got something better for you, got something greater for you. You watch and see." So with this lesson, I think this is pretty much done. Unless there's anything else within it that you wanted to bring up. But again, I'm just trying to show you. Oh, no, there's more. There's more. I think we'll do this afterwards. We'll address this bit afterwards. We'll address that after.
Oh, right.
It looks as though I'm going to run out of time. You notice they've not got a timer on it now either. It said 10 minutes before, right?
Mm-hmm.
The green clock.
5 minutes.
Oh, right, okay.
They took off that box, didn't they?
You know, I watched a video this morning that was saying that people love this argument that poor people shouldn't have kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then the woman was basically talking about how children are inevitable and having children is not the problem. It's like we should be solving the poverty problem.
Yeah, they're still trying to. That's the anti-abortion. That's the abortion stuff. They're still trying to promote.
Yeah, we're losing you, sis. We can't hear you.
I said that's the approach and stuff they're trying to promote. Putting them videos out.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, who's the head? Who's the tail at the moment?
Come again?
Who's the head and who is the tail at the moment?
I'm not sure what you mean.
So who are the people who are poor generally at the moment?
The children of Israel.
Should we show you? Let's have a quick look if I can find something.
And did I send you the video about the little American guy, I think in California, got excluded from school, then arrested because his opinion on transgender is that there isn't no non-binary, there's two genders.
Oh, okay.
They suspended him a few times, expelled him. he wasn't bullying kids or anything. It was just a discussion in class that he wasn't allowed to have that opinion
Okay. Was it a
based
teacher,
on
did you
his
say?
Christianity.
Was it a teacher, did you say?
No, a student
Okay.
got suspended, then excluded, then arrested. But he did do a protest outside the school when he got excluded. So, you know, they're going to say it's for the protest rather than his opinion.
Okay.
Mhm.
So again, just to prove my point, we're saying that they were saying poor people shouldn't have children.
Mhm.
Now look at this. You see that?
Yeah, it's probably.
So who's the head and who's the tail?
Wow, yeah. I mean, it's not surprising, but
It's not, but again, it's great that we've got some facts here. I wonder what it's like in the UK.
That is a massive proportion.
it's like, I guess we've got to keep, yeah, just like keep our eye on, like, obviously, this would have been like a proper low for Israel in the first Exodus as well, or before the first Exodus. And God's just been bringing them up and up and up, innit?
Here, this is probably showing us that things are changing.
Yeah.
10% of people live in the
No,
Go a bit slower with that. What's the dark blue and what's the light blue?
I don't know.
Is this the UK? What's
Yeah.
the thing? What's the
UK.
title?
For the UK. Maybe these are subtitles or subsections.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Notice it now, yeah.
Pakistani, I don't believe that.
But you know, you also have to have a look at where they're probably located. Many of them are in Bradford. Most of us are in London. So you have to look at it slightly differently. You know, again, we don't know how they're based. If it's based on property values, there'll be a massive disparity between values of property.
Oh yeah,
You
true.
also have to look at who owns those properties. And they're just
Oh.
talking neighborhoods. So neighborhoods is not really you have to do it by well.
in Bangladesh, they're much more businesses, don't they?
Because like Blackburn is like one of the most deprived towns, but like the